Off to a great start. I knew I'd cough as soon as I turned the camera on. I should have prepared. Anyways, well met, lords and ladies. Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. And yeah, if you couldn't tell by that marvelously stellar introduction there, I'm still a little sick. I've been sick for the past like 5 days or so. If in case you're wondering, because I'm out here, I did a test and they and it's not COVID, so don't worry. And I have actually been keeping in my apartment, but actually that's for completely unrelated reasons. That wasn't to do with self-isolation or anything. That was actually because I had so low energy that I was barely able to get out of bed. It's like, haha, really, Jacob, what's changed? Haha, yeah, funny. No, but seriously, I was just not okay. You can still kind of hear a little bit in my voice, but yeah, it keeps, every time I go to sleep I wake up with a dry throat, and I've sort of realized part of the source of the problem. Part of the source of the problem is the fact that the medicine that I actually received from my brother, so shout out to him and thank you for bringing me that. It's been really helpful so far, because I had a sore throat to the point where even when he brought the first batch, I couldn't even speak to say thank you to him. I just say it on the second go. But it also it helped with the headache that I got, because it was a all-in-one batch. Well, it was several batches. This video is not sponsored by Lemsip, by the way. Just saying. It just happens to be the brand that was used. In fact, I can tell you the one issue that I've had that is, I think the reason I've got a sore throat today rather than, but my head is completely clear. I completely forgot that the last time I used Lemsip, what happened is that, it freed my sinuses so much that I end up having a build-up and not being able to actually breathe through my nose. I just realized that might have been oversharing. I'm sorry, I'm very tired. Still. I've been up for hours, but again, building up the energy to come out here. But yeah, that issue basically means that, yeah, because I've had to, whenever I breathe through my mouth when I sleep, it ends up very dry. I think that's fairly standard. So yeah, that's probably why it sounds a little bit hoarse still. I've had water. In fact, exclusively I've had water today, because my appetite is still not completely restored. And that's it really. I've not really got much else to report there. I've had water and it hasn't really worked. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the show must go on, or whatever. So, yeah, here I am again. In fact, I think actually, I have more reason to be out today than any other day, is because I think around this time in May 2019 is when I started doing Walking Wednesday. Like the first episode came out, so I think this might be the third anniversary video of Walking Wednesday. I can't remember. Again, I forgot to check, and I just crossed my mind now. Yeah, I've been having a rough week. With the exception, actually, of the graduation ball that just happens to be right before I got sick. Now people think, oh, I must have caught something from someone. And yeah, maybe. Again, not COVID, checked for that. And also when I do actually get food, I can still taste it, so that gives me hope as well. If people don't know, I don't have a sense of smell much at all, so loss of sense of smell for me is not really a sign of anything. I've had that question before when I filled out COVID questionnaires in the past. Have you suffered any recent loss of smell? It's like, define recent. If you mean recent by at birth, then maybe. I don't know. So yeah. But yeah, the graduation ball was just before that. From what I can tell, none of the other people who went to there seemed to catch anything, so I'm very glad about that. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I actually went down and bought an entirely new suit for all that stuff. I think I mentioned that last when Working Wednesday, because that was part of the process. Just trying to decide which way to go. Good grief, there's a screaming Spider-Man. Your friendly Super Saiyan Spider-Man, that's what it's going to be here. Anyways, hold on, there's cars. Right, so yeah, graduation ball, what happened there? Well, actually, I didn't actually account for where the venue actually was. It was in the complete opposite direction to the university itself, so of course I will not disclose the location of that, because people can, people are smart in this world. Sometimes. Maybe not right now, because, again, cars. There. But yeah, I didn't realise that it was actually quite a fair distance away. So I ended up walking there for about an hour or so. I was only going to be an hour late because I was, preparing and grooming myself and everything. As you can probably tell, I'm still having that grow back. But yeah, other than that, it was actually all right. People said I was fashionably late and everything. That was not the intention, but there you go. Also, here you go. Look, you are worthy. You are loved. You are enough. It says hashtag talk to Coco. So no, not hashtag, at talk to Coco. There you go. I guess with today's Walking Wednesday, there's a guest appearance from the either Twitter or Instagram account Talk to Coco. It doesn't actually say which one. I guess you find out if you search. Dry. Sound like Gordon Ramsay. It's dry. Food is dry. No, I don't know. I've sworn off doing any more Gordon Ramsay impressions for the foreseeable future, because I actually once did a video for Tightail YT. It was a Minecraft sketch where he got me to do an impression of Gordon Ramsay, but it wasn't the little bit more repressed Kitchen Nightmares Gordon Ramsay. No, it was the full-on, it was the full-on Hell's Kitchen occasional episodes of 24 Hours Ellen back. Like that the cartoonish swearing Gordon Ramsay that he eventually made himself or was made into. So yeah, was that interesting one. It was like the Gordon Ramsay of cars. That was a very weird sketch on that day. I'm still not sure quite what to make of it. But yeah, did not like my performance in that, but I guess I was the closest person, at least voice-wise, that could get to Gordon Ramsay. Which is interesting. I mean, I do admire the fact that people are actually choosing me for things that, for impressions and other voices that they can actually get me to do. Because one thing that emerged in a recent discussion, well, sort of, say discussion. This was when I couldn't speak, so I was typing this all out. Was in a group chat where Monet actually mentioned something about saying, well, maybe next time doing a gacha voice acting audition, maybe encourage people to use their speaking voices and not try to put on a voice. Which by which she means that the people who do different accents they think are going to be more accepted because of, I guess, where they think the performance is set based on how many people there actually are and etc. You know my policy. I've never actually cared about accents. I've said this much to Monet herself, in fact, at one point. I said I don't care about accents in the sense that when I'm casting somebody, I'm not going to let their accent hold them back, because that, and if they try and focus on it to an unnatural degree, it will affect their performance. Ironically enough, she actually kind of saw what I meant, but didn't connect it to that conversation from months ago, which again kind of checks out because it was a conversation from months ago. But in that vein, what actually got said was because it was to do with people's confidence, and actually their speaking voices in this instance are what actually tends to sound better. At which I, of course, pushed back and went, hang on a second. What's more interesting, for me to do my regular speaking voice, or this is where I would do like an impression of, Harvey, Cole Gray, I don't know, Andrew, trying to think of other ones, I guess Zach, Thanatos, I don't know, all those people. I guess now I can say Charlie from VA Academy, that's just Harvey's voice again, etc. What was more interesting, and then they said, oh yeah, to be fair, you've got more range than most of the other people. I was like, okay, well, fair enough, but the only reason I've got that range is, and people know that I have that range, is because I've been allowed to experiment with that. I told this story back in like Walking Wednesday 2020-ish, when I started auditioning for gacha voice actor projects in the first place. But what happened was that before that, the only roles that I got were roles that kind of sounded like this, or that were excessively posh ones. Like for example, Ian from Mystic Hills. That was the prime example, but I guess some other people, I think like Jewel 200 had another one with me that was kind of the same. That was for Minecraft. So actually, when I went in and started doing different voices and proved that I was actually, I was versatile, that's when the calls started rolling in, or I should say the DMs started rolling in. It's when I realized, okay, well, I can actually do this, and I can actually, as CDog VA actually said, if you're not 100% confident in a voice that you do, you shouldn't do it. But the voices that I was 100% confident in, like Katie the Librarian, for example, who I'm not going to do right now, because if I do that voice right now, I'll destroy my phone forever. Those ones are the ones that I should be doing, and that's why I then kept exploring in them. And it's one of those things that I've developed ever since, in the past 2 years, I mean, Harvey alone, for example, and Zach, they've gone through all the gambit of emotions. I can't just keep Zach as smooth. I can't just keep Zach as fully smooth, like, all the time, or I can't just keep Harvey as the cartoonishly high character. They have to have their highs and lows. It's like Mark Hamill's Joker voice. If you notice, it's not always like super high-pitched and laughter. He goes back and forth from high to low depending on the situation. But you can still tell that it's a performance that he's putting on, but you still believe it. That's what I mean to say. There. So I'm just checking to see where the car's going. Okay. So yeah, that's why I kind of think that if you actually do that and just say, okay, just use your speaking voice, and you do that exclusively and say, okay, nothing else, not only do you end up limiting your options for your actors, but sometimes if the people aren't actually that confident in the voices that they have in the first place, or if they know for a fact that their regular speaking voice isn't going to suit the character that they end up playing for whatever reason that may be, maybe like a character description or something similar, then that's not going to encourage them to actually audition. I suggested a compromise, do both. Maybe have one where the character's in their regular speaking voice, and another one that's in the put-on voice, which I've actually experienced a couple of times. When Gilead first auditioned for Julius, he actually, or rather I first asked him to replace Julius, didn't we, going through the audition process, he put on a bit of a higher voice. But the thing is that Julius actually already he was an early bloomer in terms of his pubescent voice, because he had the deep voice at 12, because he was originally voiced by an 18-year-old. And so I said, okay, well, actually, next time you do this, can you do this in your regular voice, because you sound more similar to Julius when you speak normally than when you did this other voice. So I have experienced this before, and granted, I'm guilty myself of putting on an accent or putting on a different voice that I think is going to suit other characters without checking first. Honestly, since then, I've actually done an audition where I didn't do that. But yeah, definitely before that, and still, to an extent, I still do that, but that's more in a case of what I think is going to suit the character more than, me going like, oh no, I don't think my regular voice is going to be good for this. Heck, if anything, I can actually say the same thing with puppetry characters, because puppetry, the first episode came out, the first scene, well, no, not the fourth scene, but the first scene by upload, I guess, came out. And, yeah, in that one, I voiced, there was the lead, Kevin Falcon, and my Kevin Falcon voice is not entirely different to my own, but it is, in the sense, it's more high-pitched, it's got more of an American twang to it, it just kind of sounds like a younger character than me, which is what you want, because Kevin is, I believe, 15 in puppetry. So yeah, very important to bear in mind. Sometimes that's just the way that it goes. I mean, I have two other characters alone in that movie. So, also another thing to bear in mind if you're doing just a speaking voice is that you're limiting your options on multiple roles. Unless you're voice acting twins, because I've cast the same person to voice a pair of twins before. Actually, twice, 2 pairs of twins. Yeah, Eric and Ernie, and also Liam and Brian. Anyways. But yeah, unless you're doing that, then it's not a limiting option. So yeah, been kind of thinking of that. I've also been, I also had a lot of other, deep thoughts that aren't quite as illuminating as that. That, to be honest, I probably should not actually share here. I've already shared my synapse clearings. I think I've done enough oversharing for one day. But yeah, I have come to a realization that I need to actually get a move on in terms of actually doing those channel separations and stuff. And I think I've finally got a solution. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to investigate into Twitch for other stuff like gacha reviews and things. I might do some Twitch exclusive streams for a bit, and encourage people to go over there as well, and then boost that, but then also afterwards put those Twitch videos on on the Gacha review channel that I was thinking of doing. I think that's the first one I'm going to actually do, because I've got like a bunch of backed up reviews and things, and I want to actually find a way to make a shortened and more abbreviated version. Because again, Moni pointed out that a lot of the content that I do is actually too long because I don't know what to cut out. So if there's a version out there that has like a much more, I tried to do with that thing with extended editions and things, but even then, that's a little too much. So yeah, we'll actually see. Maybe that format with a Twitch exclusive, like, you know, full extensions, and then afterwards, I mean, I guess I have to save the VODs or something. I can't remember exactly what the process is. If I have to save the VODs, I'll put them on the same channel. But yeah, Gacha Review. I mean, heck, Gacha Review can actually host multiple people, if anything. Or someone else wants to do a different review of something and send it my way, then by all means, I'll promote their stuff to people to find them and do collabs like that. That is a proven formula on YouTube as far as collabs go. But yeah, you know what else is a proven formula on YouTube, at least for me? What ifs. And the one video that I've probably finished this week, apart from one Pixelmon video actually, is What If Rats Nappa Turn Good, which is actually premiering very shortly. So I am going to actually head back now and see if I can at least catch the end of that. So yeah, I'll do that. So please leave a like or dislike, go over to the video as well, because your opinion matters, sorry, and subscribe to the channel already. There's a poll on there, a couple of polls, that any hopeless romantic viewers of the Butter Bunch might be interested in. So hop on over to the one time that I've actually endeavored to create a separate channel and actually had somewhat of a success, and then some for a bit actually. Let's see if that can actually slowly revive itself if I don't just leave it to die again for several more weeks. We shall see. But for now, on that note, until next time, farewell.